Brian and Rachel Nelson loved that his job as an aviation mechanic landed them in the Virgin Islands 6 months out of the year.
We were living the high life when we were living in the Virgin Islands. Can you imagine living there and not renting a boat to go to another island or spending credit card? You see, you get enticed. There's all kinds of things to buy.
They enjoyed that lifestyle for years, but there was one problem. They were using credit cards to pay for it.
The debt got as high as $40,000. All of it was credit card debt, because credit cards were easy to access for us.
There was a heavy load on my shoulder, just pressing down, and I couldn't sleep at night because I was always thinking about, how are we going to pay this bill? How are we going to get out of this debt? It was like torment.
Then the job ended and they moved home to Minnesota. Between jobs, they had nothing to fall back on.
When we left the islands, we were in so much debt that we couldn't afford anything other than a $350 a month apartment.
And we're living in a one-bedroom apartment, and it's surrounded by boxes. And we had enough room to sit on the couch, and we slept on the floor on a mattress.
They knew they needed to make drastic changes, and the first step was getting in line with God's financial principles.
We knew that no matter how difficult it was, God had a plan and a purpose for our life, and it wasn't to be in debt. So we knew that we had to do something about that and start going in a direction where we could pay off the bills and start over again and do it the right way, do it God's way.
It also meant first giving to God's work.
Well, what I've learned is I foolishly spent my money on other things when I should have been investing in the kingdom a lot sooner.
They came up with a plan to pay off their debt, cut back on spending, and give more to God. That included giving to CBN.
I especially get touched by Operation Blessing because I know how they go to third world countries. They're always the first one there when there's a disaster, and they're always the last one out.
Soon after, Brian got a contract with Paul Allen of Microsoft and others to service their private seaplanes.
Things started to turn around. Our income increased as we continued to tithe outside the normal giving of tithes and offerings.
Brian then landed a lucrative job as an aviation mechanic for an oil company on Alaska's North Slope.
And I knew the Lord had opened the door, and I was hired initially as a contractor before being a full-time Conoco employee.
They paid off their debt, and Brian is making more money now than he ever has. He and Rachel see their blessings coming from obedience to faithfully giving to God's work around the world.
I'm just so blessed. I mean, what else can I ask for? I have everything I need. It's just awesome. I mean, I don't feel heaviness. I feel free, like I can breathe. We're debt-free. It's a great feeling. God is good.
The Lord has made a bigger provision. He's opened the windows of heaven for me and given me more than I can ever ask or imagine.